What's up everybody, Adrian here, back with another video. This time we're going to take a look at an article talking about writers on genre on how to write horror. So I found this article and I found it very informative, especially if you're specifically a horror writer. So basically there was a panel of writers and scribes and they were having a conversation and they were answering some questions about how to write horror movies or horror scripts. So the first thing they talked about was audience expectations. What are the expectations of the horror genre? In response, he said, catharsis. You come out of it emboldened or exhilarated. Young audiences are drawn to horror because it charges everything you've got. Wes Craven once said, horror films are an exorcism. 90 minutes of fear and terror that is ritualistic, contained and communal in a group of people. So he continues saying, unfortunately, the moderate expectation is to see some gruesome deaths, but good horror is much more than interesting kills. A horror film is only as good as its victims. One of the differences between cheap horror and real horror is characterization. All writing, regardless of genre, comes down to the basis characters, 3-act structure, opposing force for the protagonist, and so on. Oh, this guy went on to cite Edgar Allan Poe, my favorite horror writer of all time, and H.P. Lovecraft as icons of psychological and supernatural horror, respectively, and that with regard to dealing with life, death, existence, and afterlife, horror could be a very profound genre. So here's a good tip that I have used for myself and it'll work for you. Specifically for horror writers, you're going to be tempted just to sit down and write a blood and guts, hacker, slasher, killer in a mask with a knife killing hot teenagers between sex scenes. At first I did that and it worked, but not as good. Here's my tip. Read a bunch of drama or character study screenplays. Watch a bunch of dramas and character study movies, and then when you sit down to write a horror screenplay, don't. Sit down and write a drama. Focus on the characters. Don't worry about the killer in the mask with the knife and the hot teenagers and the blood and guts. Don't worry about that first. Sit down and pick a character and another character and write a drama in between them. What is the issue between them? Expand on their problem. Draw it out. Solve it. Does it get better? Does it get worse? Then add a bad guy. Add a love triangle. Write a character study. Write a drama. Then add blood and guts and sex and all that a cheap horror movie has. But because you mixed it with the drama and the character study, you will actually care, or the audience will actually care about the characters, and when they get killed off, they will feel sad, as opposed to just putting hot teenagers in there to be killed off in a cool, funny way. You will relate to the characters because the drama that they have experienced amongst themselves is relatable to the audience or to the teenagers that are in the movie theater. Do that, and I bet you your screenplay writing, your horror screenplay writing, will be elevated to a whole different level. It worked for me. I know it's gonna work for you. Thanks for watching. See you next video.